the Lord has made. We are rejoicing. We are glad in it. If you are coming on, joining me live, happy Monday. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. Do me a quick favor if you're coming on, joining me live. Hit the like button, hit the share button, tag Lolly Dolly, everybody, and let them know your boy, Ramon Preston, that's me, my squad. We're all live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. And you're watching the Ramon Preston Show. You better have a pen, a notepad, or some device to take some notes, because today I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about business building versus business buying. Business building versus business buying. So I'm not going to go deep into the weeds. I'm not going to talk high level. I'm just going to share some things with you to help you at least formulate an opinion about building your business and or buying a business. Which one is best for you? If you listen to what I'm going to share with you, maybe you'll find out that there's a little bit of both that you want to consider, and it changes how you approach your day-to-day business activity. So welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. If you don't know, now you know. My name is Ramon Preston. I am the host of the Ramon Preston Show. And when I'm not looking at properties, when I'm not consulting or coaching a client, I show up here live throughout the week, throughout the workday, to share information with you, to give you the game, to help you take your business, your finances, or whatever it is that you're doing to the next level. I want you to do me a quick favor. Put in the comments what city you're watching us from, what state, whatever area you're in. Please let me know where you're watching the show from. I love to know where you are watching the Ramon Preston Show from. Put in the comments what city you're watching us from, what state you're watching us from. I would love to know that. All right. I want to say thank you to all of you that continue to support the show. All of you that are members of our Millionaire Mentorship Program. You might be a student inside of our Millionaire Blueprint. Maybe you've participated in some free or paid event, whether it was a workshop, a webinar, whether it was a boot camp, whatever it is. Thank you. Thank you for trusting my team and I to help you take your business, your finances, maybe your ministry, your life to the next level. Now today, as I mentioned, I want to talk a little bit about business building versus business buying. There is a fundamental difference. I personally think if you are an entrepreneur and you have an intention on being successful as an entrepreneur, I personally believe that you need to understand the ins and outs of business building, and you need to also understand the ins and outs of business buying. You need to understand the ins and outs. Now, again, if you need resources on how to build a business, we're talking about from getting your EIN number, getting your LLC set up, getting your operating agreement, integrating the basic systems and processes, formulating products and services, packaging them, pricing them. If you need information on that, we got you, okay? If you want some basic information on business buying, I'm not talking about all the high level stuff. I'm talking about some of the basic things to at least help you wrap your mind around it. We got you. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite workshops that we host here is a workshop on the holding company. And inside of this workshop, not only do we talk about how to start and structure a holding company, we talk about divisions. We talk about subsidiaries. We talk about increasing your net worth through the accumulation of assets, through asset acquisition, and ultimately asset management. Well, when you're able to wrap your mind around just those few concepts, guess what you're going to be able to do? You're going to be able to understand the basics of business building and business buying. Now, if I were to ask you, what do you think is the best approach for an entrepreneur in today's world? Is the best approach to build a business from the ground up, or is the best approach to buy a business that's already been built from the ground up? Most entrepreneurs, and I know this because that's all I work with is entrepreneurs. Like almost every client, almost every mentee, almost every student that we have inside of our ecosystem is an entrepreneur. Whether they're a full-time entrepreneur, part-time, per diem, it doesn't matter. Almost everybody that I work with is an entrepreneur. And almost every entrepreneur that I've ever worked with, almost all of them, if not all of them, have a belief that they have to build a business as opposed to buy a business. Now, I've been a full-time entrepreneur for 21 years. My wife and I, we got married 21 years ago, and we started like just jumping into ministry and jumping into entrepreneurship. I don't say business ownership because at the time I wasn't a business owner. I was just an entrepreneur. I wasn't even really an entrepreneur. I was just somebody who was willing to scrap it out and hustle and grind. And I had to grow into becoming an entrepreneur, ultimately grow into becoming a business owner. And I want to continue to grow. But my point is this. Hindsight is always 20/20. I mean, like if I look back 21 years ago and knew then what I know now, if I knew 21 years ago what I know today, I'm telling you, and I know a lot of successful people who understand the basics around these two, they would say the same thing. If I knew then just half of what I know now about building a business and buying a business, I would, without a shadow of a doubt, focus on buying a business. I would not focus on building a business. And as I said, almost every entrepreneur, if not every entrepreneur that I work with, they are just focusing on building a business. They're not even thinking about buying a business. Why? Well, first of all, if you don't have the knowledge and the information, you ain't gonna never think about that. If you don't get exposed to the knowledge and information and get around people who understand the fundamentals of buying businesses as opposed to building businesses, you're never going to understand it, which is why some of you might be watching, whether you're watching on IG, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you're watching from, this might be foreign to you. But I promise you this, if you plan on being an entrepreneur in today's world, and if you want to win and win big within the next 3 to 5 years specifically, at the time of this live, it's 2024. Matter of fact, it's July 1st, 2024, okay? Between now, 25, 26, 27 would be 3 years, 28, 29. Within the next 3 to 5 years, if you want to win and win big in entrepreneurship, learn the ins and outs of not just building a business, but learn the ins and outs of buying a business. I promise you this. There are going to be more opportunities for you to succeed buying businesses probably than there will be for you to build a business within the next 3 to 5 years. Because building a business is extremely hard, especially when you don't have a proof of concept. But again, I don't want to get into the weeds. Here's what I want to do. I want to just kind of unpack this a little bit. For me, if I knew 21 years ago when I first started as an entrepreneur, half of what I know now. If I knew half of what I know now, I would focus on buying a business than I would building a business. Now, what I would do in terms of building a business, if I was just getting started, let's say you're just getting started today and you want to be an entrepreneur. Well, first of all, you got to educate yourself, get the knowledge. But I would start a holding company. That's what I would do. I would start a holding company. So whether I'm going to build a business, and when I say build a business, I'm talking about building an operating business. So whether I want a business that sells products, whether I want a business that provides services or both. Either way, whether I'm going to build a business that's going to operate and sell stuff, or whether I'm going to buy a business that's already operating and selling stuff, either way, if I was starting new, knowing what I know now, I would first start my holding company. And so my holding company, that's HC LLC, my holding company would be the parent company. This would be my legacy company. This would be my umbrella company. This would become the Berkshire Hathaway of my world. This would become my own JP Morgan, my own Bank of America, my own Merrill Lynch, or whatever major corporation you could think of, my own Walton Enterprises. So I would do that whether I wanted to build a business under this, or operating business, or whether I want to buy a business. So for all of you, whether you are entrepreneurs or thinking about being entrepreneurs, the first business you should build, or start rather, is a holding company. Now, if you already have existing LLCs that sell products or provide services, you can always still start a holding company, or either use an existing company as a holding company and then transfer any other company that you have under that company, so that you can be at the top of one company as the owner, and then your one company owns the other companies. So I would do that either way. Now, here's the thing. Even if you start out with a holding company, and let's just say you're not ready to buy a business, but you do have, I'm going to put P there for products that you want to sell. I'm going to put S here for services that you want to provide. Let's just assume you have one, or you either have one or the other. You have a business that sells products, or business that provides service, or both. Let's just assume you have both, and they are separate LLCs that you have set up. Just having this structure, it already prepares you mentally for the operational responsibility you're going to have if at any point you buy another business. Okay? So this is why when I talk to my students, mentees, coaching clients, consulting clients, small business owners, individuals who are getting into entrepreneurship, I always tell them, if you start with this type of infrastructure, it automatically prepares you to at some point think like and become an asset manager. That's the goal. That's the game. The goal is not to be a laborer inside of a business, no matter what business it is. That ain't the goal. That ain't the game. The goal in the game is not to be an operator inside of a business. I'm going to be honest with you. The goal in the game is not to be a CEO within a business. The goal in the game is to graduate at some point so that you can be the person who's managing assets that have all these individual operations going on, and people who are running those different business activities. But how are you going to logistically, operationally wake up every day as an asset manager if you don't have the infrastructure built? That's why I said your holding company is the parent company. It should be, in a perfect world, the first company that you set up. But if you, like me and millions of other entrepreneurs, start other LLCs first, you can still either use one of those LLCs as a holding company, or just start a new one and then transfer the ownership of the existing ones under the new one, so that you can be properly structured to at least begin with the end in mind. I want to begin with the end in mind, meaning that I want to start out selling products and providing services in a business that's owned by a business that I'm going to be managing at some point as an asset manager. I want to start out like that. So it doesn't mean I'm not going to wake up every day and try to push products. I'm going to still have to do that, especially if it's just me. Like I'm at my office today. I have an infrastructure like this set up. I have a holding company. I have subsidiaries. I have divisions that provides products and services. And I think like an asset manager. But guess what? I'm still pushing products. I will still sell you my holding company workshop. I will still sell you a $97 course. I will still sell you a $247 a month mentorship program. I will still sell you a one-on-one coaching session. Why? Because even though I have products and services that are inside of divisions and subsidiaries, and even though I think like an asset manager, I still got to do what I got to do in labor. I still got to operate my business. I still got to be the CEO. I still got to show up and do this stuff until the day comes that I can fully live out the perfect picture of what I put together. But I never get to that exit. I never exit the role of a laborer. I never exit the role of an operator. I never exit the role of a CEO and get to there if I don't at least put the infrastructure together and have a basic understanding of how it plays out as I wake up every day and move towards it. So hopefully what I'm saying to you is making sense. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to put the questions in the comments. Wait a minute, are y'all seeing me on here? Let me make sure we still live, because I don't see nothing right now. Hopefully y'all can see me. If you have any questions, put the questions in the comments, because I don't see anything right here. Like, for some reason, my screen is just blank. See here. Let me just make sure I'm on. Y'all put something in the chat to let me know I'm still on, so I ain't just talking to myself. Because for some reason, I don't see nothing. If what I just shared with you makes sense, I definitely want you to let me know that it makes sense and put something in the chat, because I really encourage everybody. I encourage everybody to position themselves as asset managers now. I'm talking about while you at this level of selling products and providing services. I encourage everybody to do that, okay? So again, we want to differentiate business building versus business buying. But as I said, if all I have the intention to do is just build a business, meaning that I want to build a business that sells products or build a business that provides a service, I still want to set up my holding company. I still want my product-based business or my service-based business to be either an LLC under my holding company, or if it is more of an intellectual play with my intellect or with my services as a consultant or a coach or an educator, maybe I can just run the products or services through my holding company, get some insurance until these activities generate enough revenue that they justify being separate LLCs. So that's if I just want to build a business. However, while I'm building that business, if I have the right infrastructure and I understand my asset management play, it gives me the ability to start thinking like a business buyer. And how do you start the business buying process? Well, I think if you want to start the business buying process, it would work best with you learning how to accumulate assets. I call it asset accumulation. If you want to get to a point to where you can buy other businesses. Remember, I'm going to have my holding company here. I'm going to have my holding company here. My holding company will have other businesses that sells products or provide services. And then once I set this up, I want to learn how to accumulate assets, meaning that I want to identify with things that have monetary value. I want to identify with things that can increase the net worth of my holding company. These assets may be intellectual assets. It could be copyrights. It could be trademarks. It could be real estate. It could be equipment. It could be so many different things that I start accumulating under my holding company to increase its net worth. Asset accumulation, when done right, just within the business that you're building. Remember, we're just building a business. Even if my play or my goal is to buy businesses, I still want to have my infrastructure set up so that when I get to the point that I'm buying businesses, I have built a business system that's strong enough to support the buying of a new business. Like, I'm going through this process myself right now, so I can talk about it and I can help people understand it better. But I've already been through that process of asset accumulation. So the last few years in my business building, I have been working on accumulating assets. These are things within my day-to-day activities that I can recognize and identify with that are valuable. They generate income, licenses, royalties, copyrights, trademarks, intellectual assets like my ability to coach and consult, my educational content, curriculum. All of these things are assets that are able to make money today, but also start getting accumulated under here so that once I become a beast at asset accumulation, it makes it easier to start transitioning to asset acquisition. Now, there are levels to acquisitions. And again, if I had to pinpoint where I, as a business owner, am, I'm right here. I'm becoming the beast at this, which asset acquisition, for me, the first acquisition is real estate. But then I could get into actual businesses, which real estate to some extent is a business. Depending on what type of real estate you're buying, it becomes more and more of a business. But my point to you is this: if I have this infrastructure set up, even if all I want to do is build a business, I can still learn how to buy businesses when I have that in mind. So I always tell people, even if you don't have a goal to buy other businesses, you still want to build your business with your own exit in mind. And your own exit could be, how do I sell my business at a certain point? Even if I don't want to buy other businesses. But I still need to understand the responsibility that I would assume if I bought a business. So if I build my business that way, now I can accumulate assets because I'm thinking about the exit. Whether I'm going to buy a business or sell a business, I'm still thinking about it. I'm accumulating assets. I go from asset accumulation to asset acquisition. It just makes it easier for me to identify with assets that I can acquire. I hope y'all understanding what I'm saying. It's easier for you to identify assets that you can acquire when you've already identified with assets that you can accumulate. So if me and you sit down and you say, you know what? I want to at least prepare myself to be a business buyer, not just a business builder. I will still say to you, set your holding company up, have your divisions and subsidiaries set up, make sure that you're clear on what you're selling, products and services. think about your exit, whether it's just you exiting certain roles in your business or exiting your business, period, so that you could be an asset manager, not a laborer, not an operator, not a CEO. Step one would be for you to look at everything that you got going on in your day-to-day activities as a solopreneur, if you're doing everything yourself, and start accumulating assets. Start putting a list of all the assets you have. Now, most entrepreneurs that I sit down and talk with about the asset accumulation, they like, I ain't got no assets. Well, yes, you do have assets. You just have not identified with those assets. Let me give you some common assets that you need to think about. And I go through all of this even in my workbook and my courses. But trademarks, intellectual property, copyright, stocks and bonds, digital currency, real estate, licenses, royalties, equipment. It could be technology. It could be leases, inventory, contracts that you have, certain leverages that you can use, which could be your credit. It could be lines of credit. It could be insurance policies. All of these things are assets that if you have them, you need to learn to accumulate them inside of your business. They need to be in your ecosystem. They need to be in your business ecosystem. They don't need to be your personal assets. That's how I see it as an entrepreneur. If you're not an entrepreneur, you're a W-2 employee, you got a retirement account, you waiting for 30, 40 years down the road to have a certain lifestyle, then maybe this don't work for you. But if you out here really doing this thing for real, you need to figure out how can I accumulate all these assets under my holding company inside of my ecosystem. So the next step, it would be a natural step to go from asset accumulation to asset acquisitions. Now I'm looking to acquire assets. For me, it's real estate, but for you, it may be equipment. It may be notes. It may be publishing rights. If you're in the music business, it may be copyrights. Whatever the assets are, depending on the things that you do in terms of the products and services you sell. But at some point, the transition to acquiring businesses, whether they are businesses that are like the businesses you run or not, it's easier because you've already built the infrastructure to understand it. And then once you become the beast at asset accumulation and then the beast at asset acquisition, you find yourself right where you want to be as an asset manager. See, the people who I talk with and work with and hang with on a regular basis that's in our community, when they hear me talking this talk, they used to it because they know I'm walking them through my own process. I'm not just talking about something hypothetical. I'm walking them through my whole process. I got people who've been in my coaching program for the last 3.5 years, right? And when they first started with me, I was telling them what I was in the process of doing. 3.5 years ago, I'm in the process of accumulating assets. I'm building my holding company enterprise out. Once I accumulate enough assets, I'm going to start acquiring other assets like real estate and then other businesses so I can elevate my net worth to give me the purchasing power and the credibility and the proof of concept so that at some point I could get into asset management where at that point I'm doing syndications and creating funds. And now I'm no longer a laborer inside of a business, an operator inside of the business. I'm not even necessarily the CEO in a business. I'm an asset manager managing the asset of a holding company and a management company that owns and controls other assets that have been accumulated by me within my ecosystem, that have been acquired from outside of my ecosystem and brought in. And that's the game. That's the goal. I'm going to stop right there because I don't want to get too deep into the weeds and lost in the woods. And I don't want to be too high level that it sounds like foreign language to you. But hopefully you can at least see the possibility and the potential that you can do, right where you are as a solopreneur. That's the part that I want to get solopreneurs to see, that don't wait until this day in the future that you feel like you got enough stuff going on that you can do it. No, you got to figure this out now. You got to get educated. You got to get the knowledge. You got to start practicing this, working towards this, just with the things that you have at your disposal. Now, for all of you that are watching, if for some reason you just need to hit the reset button and you need to really learn how to develop the muscle in the eye to see things from this perspective, I got a free resource for you. If you're watching on IG, you're going to have to go to my bio, click the Linktree link, and you'll see the free resource in the Linktree. For all of you that are watching through our streaming today, you can look inside of the description, and there's a link. There's a link to a free resource. This is a free business assessment workbook. One of the reasons why I encourage you to download this workbook. It's a 17-page digital workbook that simulates the 5-step process I walk through with my coaching clients, or if I'm consulting someone. So that means if you were to hire my company or me personally to coach you and to sit down with you to assess your business, to help you put a game plan together, whether it's to become an asset manager or whether it's just to build a good solid business, I would walk you through 5 steps. It's a 5-step process that we use, and I would help you identify with certain things in each step. Well, this workbook spells that out. We also provide with this workbook, when you click the link, a couple walkthrough videos. And each video that I put in that module walks you through each of the 5 steps. It's not going to be everything, because it's not like I'm sitting down with you, but it is a virtual way for you to at least start the process of thinking like a business builder and or a business buyer. In other words, I don't want you to just think like a laborer, a grinder, a hustler. I don't want you to just think like a business operator who has a LLC. I don't want you to just think like a CEO. I want you to think like an asset manager. And I want you to at least build a business in a way that if you ever want to pivot and exit into that type of operation, at least you know the way, okay? I see most entrepreneurs get stuck and they start scrambling, feeling like they're all over the place and they're not getting nowhere because they don't see the end before the beginning. They don't begin with the end in mind. They don't have an exit strategy. They don't see the light at the end of their business entrepreneurial tunnel. And I want to help you do that. So this is a free business assessment workbook. It's a digital workbook. You download it. You go through. It may take you 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes if you take your time. Take notes, highlight things that you have questions on, jot down anything that you don't understand. And once you download this free business assessment workbook and start going through it, get your questions together about your goals, about what you want to do for the end of the year. Get questions about your holding company or subsidiaries or the LLC structure or your systems and processes or how you price certain things. Anything from A to Z about building your business that comes to your mind that you have a question on, write it down, take good notes, and then once you complete that, I want you to text the word strategy to one of these numbers, and we are offering you a free strategy call. It's like you could call. I've done this for hundreds of people. They've called in or they text. We jump on a call. They got 3 or 4 questions they want to ask. We take 5 minutes. Sometimes it turns into 10, 15, depending on how deep we get into the weeds of what they're going through. And a lot of the people I've done this for have never bought anything from me. They've never come to an event. They've never supported any workshop, or They never bought a course or became a mentee or client. They just needed 2-3 questions answered. They got their answers and boom, they went on their way. Other people come in, they get a strategy call, they see the value in the free resources that we offer them. We show them how this can be put together. They want more. They want this to be longer. And guess what? They become students in our blueprint. They become mentees in our mentorship program, or they become coaching and consulting clients. It's all up to you. But here's a free resource. Look in the description. Download the digital workbook. Maybe print it out. Go through it along with the walkthrough videos we have in those modules. Write down any questions you have, and when you are finished, text the word strategy to one of these numbers. You should screenshot this page right here. And when you text the word strategy, we'll reach back out to you to schedule a strategy call to answer any questions that you have, give you any direction that you need. All right, I'm finished for today. Appreciate you all. Today is Monday, July the 1st. We're in the second 6 months of this year. My hope and expectation is that you crush it for the rest of the day, crush it for the remainder of the year, and just know my team and I, we are here for you. There are the numbers. Even before you download the workbook, if you just have a burning question or something that's pressing that you need some direction on now, guess what? You'll get back to that later. You just need to text strategy right now. Maybe you're already convinced that I want to really do business with this guy. I want to be a part of his mentorship. I want to be a part of his coaching, or I want to have a one-on-one sit down with him. He knows his stuff. I want to get my holding company set up. Whatever it is, you choose. You can go to the workbook download, go through it, then text the word strategy, or you can just go straight to the strategy. Text it, and we're going to reach back out to you today. My team and I, we're available. We're ready to hear from you. All right, appreciate you all. Thank you for joining the show today. Hopefully, if I'm not on the property or if we don't have something going on that just occupies my time during this 12 o'clock hour, if not, I'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time, right here on the Ramon Preston Show. Leave a comment. Let me know how today's show helped you regarding building a business or buying a business. And give me one of your big takeaways from today. Let me know what you thought about the show. Love to hear from you. Appreciate you all. I'll see you